Everyone, welcome to this week 60 minutes of analytical review of the big stories, topical issues and all the controversies around the world. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja, and I'm Somna Sambo. In the headlines, after a long wait, APC NEC meeting finally holds with top leaders of the party, including former President Muhammadu Buhari being absent as President Tinubu pacifies aggrieved members. So what's the future of Nigeria's governing party? And House of Representatives urges President Bola Tinubu to appoint 6 more mandate secretaries for the Federal Capital Territory Administration as Abuja City gets development facelift. Stay with us as we bring you these details. Welcome to the program. Now we begin with the outcome of the much-awaited National Executive Committee or NEC meeting of Nigeria's governing All Progressives Congress, APC, in Abuja. Many top leaders of the party were conspicuously absent at the meeting as President Bola Tinubu appealed to aggrieved members of the party while urging them to be calm and promised not to let them down. It's the second NEC meeting since President Bola Tinubu assumed office, but the first under the leadership of Abdullahi Ganduje as national chairman, following the resignation of Abdullahi Adamu in 2023. Now, former President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the very first president under the All Progressives Congress, former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, former Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi, and that of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, was also the former Minister of Transportation, are some of those who were noticeably absent. Now, some of these APC leaders have openly expressed displeasure at the state of affairs in the governing party. Now, the party resolved to embark on high-level national reconciliation and also ratified Abdullahi Ganduje as chairman ahead of the APC National Working Committee following pressure on him to quit as the seat was ab initio zoned to the North Central and not the Northwest geopolitical zone. Well, the party also resolved to build a befitting national secretariat, and one of the biggest resolution reached was that there was a vote of confidence on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's take on the economy and governance of Nigeria in 2 years. Well, to help us take a look at the APC National Executive Committee meeting and resolutions reached, we have joining us right here in the Abuja studio a former Commissioner for Information in Adamawa State and member of the All Progressives Congress, Sajoh. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
And also, we will be having joining us later on a political strategist and public affairs commentator, Sowunmi, from our Lagos studio. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. What's been your summary of the major resolutions reached at the APC NEC meeting? Let's start from there.
Okay. You know, the last time the APC had a NEC meeting was on the 3rd of August 2023. That was a long way away, and so it was very worrisome for quite a number of people. It was damn worrisome, and I will tell you why. You know, the Constitution, Section 11, you know, says the NEC meeting should hold quarterly. Quarterly meaning 4 times in a year. And if you look at from August 2023 to date, I think there were a lot of missed chances for holding the NEC. And so it's a welcome relief that the NEC held at all, and it's a welcome relief that all issues were put on table and discussed. I don't want us to begin to look at it as being overshadowed by the number of people that did not attend. I think the number of people that attended and, you know, the constitutional provision for forming a quorum at meetings envisages that sometimes some people may not be opportune to come. It's sometimes just out of mischief that people say people boycotted. No, people may not have time to come. I know one or two of those people that have been mentioned are out of the country, and if somebody is not in the country, and given the situation now with travels all over the world, the person may not be opportune to travel back to Nigeria to come and participate at the NEC. It does not mean that it's a boycott or it's a refusal to attend. But some of the major resolutions taken, number one is the fact that there was a vote of confidence passed on the president. That is very, very significant. Significant in the sense that the NEC held at a time when, honestly, you have to give it to the president, the economy is picking up. Inflation is dropping very fast, prices are coming down. Even the prices of oil and the currency that had caused the upheavals, that was shake up within the economy, are coming down. And even insecurity is also abating. It's not at the level people may have wanted, but it's also abating. And interventions in certain strategic areas of our national life are beginning to yield fruits.
Yeah, I mean, that's the more reason why we should have had all these top guys coming to attend this meeting.
Things are getting better, from the peak of what we went through as a challenge as a nation, both economic, social, and whatever. So I think this is a point in time when the president deserves a pat on the back so that he can do more. Not necessarily. Then there was this issue of a national secretariat. Anybody that goes to APC, knows that that national secretariat is not befitting of the party. And we hope and pray that it will not be like it did with the other ruling party that stayed for years and started building a secretariat but could not complete. I hope that when the APC gets the land to establish a befitting party, and with the National Democratic Institute, they should be able to do that. And then there was also this issue of a debt. That was the shocker of the whole meeting. How could the APC be indebted to the tune of 8.6 billion? But the national chairman, explained that very clearly. That when there are too many litigations in which the party is a necessary party in those litigations, they have to pay legal services and the rest. And I think we should have less of these litigations, so that we can be able to, and we can only have less of litigations if we have free and fair elections, and where people are not too aggrieved by the manner in which either candidates emerge or the elections take place. And I think the very last one that was very significant was the commitment to reconciliation. For the president of the country to accept that, yes, some people within our fold are aggrieved, we're going to reach out to them, and for the chairman to say, look, okay, we have also done something. I know that there are a number of states where they have set up reconciliation committee. My own state of Adamawa is one of them, and the committee had interfaced with all the people aggrieved and those that feel satisfied with the situation, and then they come up with a report and submit it. So we're looking at a NEC that was actually very, very valuable, in the sense of. Okay.
We have our Lagos guest, Sowunmi, joining us right now. Thank you so much, Biodun, for joining us. Talk to us, what's been your impression so far about the APC move to reconcile, and then, of course, the vote of confidence passed in the president, President Bola Tinubu himself and his administration. And then, of course, the critical one, those who were absent. Does this actually say anything about the governing party?
I didn't hear the last one, but I heard the first two. The first one is on the reconciliation. I think it's inevitable if you look at developments within the APC itself and the country, that APC has to put its own house in order. Already, we're in a situation where the opposition parties are in disarray, there is crisis within the major opposition parties, NNPP, Labour Party, and PDP. They've not been able to solve their crisis. So for APC being the ruling party, it's quite inevitable that they have to do something about the conflictual situations in different states in the country. I mean, most notably, you're looking at Kaduna, Adamawa, Kano, you have issues also in Lagos, you know, and so on and so forth. So, and because Mr. President is desirous of doing a second term, he has to put his own house in order. And so I'm not surprised the APC NEC decided to set up a reconciliation committee to look at some of these issues. Apart from other initiatives being taken in different states, for instance, in the issue of Lagos, we know Shibisi Akonde, Aremo Olusegun Oshoba, you know, are involved in trying to get the issues sorted out there. So you also have other places where you have problems, like in Rivers State, we have the Amechi's leadership of APC in that state questionable. I mean, nobody can really say that Amechi is the leader of the party. It's not quite so. I mean, you have Godwin Abe and some other leaders who tend to wield the power. So one way or the other, in order to get things sorted out and put the house in order, it's quite inevitable that they will have to set up a reconciliation committee. It's not all the people, the aggrieved people, that will agree to get reconciled. You know, there are those who are already talking, you know, to people in the opposition party. You have the El-Rufais of this world who feels that any reconciliation or any efforts to join another party will be worthwhile, but he actually ruled out PDP. So there are moves left, right, and centers on that one. And on the issue of the commendation given to the president, when you look at the entire economy, to be fair to Mr. President, he actually inherited a near bankrupt economy, which was attested to, you know, by different figures. The current emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido, said so much about feeling sorry for whoever would take over power. We heard from the former governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, when he was in power. He attested to the fact that we were printing Naira. So the economy was at a very comatose state when he came into power. And of course, he has implemented all the policies which all the other leading candidates said they would do also. So people differ on whether he should have done it from day one or whether we should wait and do more consultation before the policies can be implemented. But today, we know we've done the first Christmas without fuel scarcity. But there's still pains in the land. There are so many people whose living standard have dropped in millions. I mean, you're talking of millions of people. So the president has a duty to look at how to beef up the economy to make sure that living standards can rise.
And the strongest of all is the absence of the first president of the APC as a political party, former President Buhari, and of course Yemi Osinbajo, who was here in Abuja not more than a week ago when IBB was launching his book. They were all here, Amechi and the likes. But when the APC NEC was holding, a very crucial meeting where they have opportunity to actually speak to the president and speak to the party leaders how they feel about the state of affairs of their party, they were nowhere to be found. Isn't that itself a vote of no confidence on Tinubu and its leadership of the APC?
Well, I think we have to be fair to former President Muhammadu Buhari. He was not at IBB's book launch. He actually sent somebody to represent him. And so I don't know why, and maybe, I don't know why he's not there. But the fact of the matter is, when you look at other people who are not there, Yemi Osinbajo, yes, that can be a surprise that Yemi, I would have expected the former vice president to be at the NEC meeting, but he was not there. And I don't know whether he gave any apology or a reason or whether he was out of the country. But you also have people like Amechi El-Rufai who are obviously aggrieved. No doubt about that. I mean, there is no way you can deodorize that. I mean, their feelings are well known. They've expressed them in different ways, you know, to the whole country. So it's quite obvious that some people are aggrieved within the APC, and maybe they are part of the people they are thinking about reconciling with. But I know that some of them, from all indications, if you look at their body language, someone like El-Rufai may not be reconcilable based on the issues at stake. Which is a straight fight between him and the current governor, his successor, Uba Sani. So when you look at the politics in Kaduna State, I'm not too sure El-Rufai would want to get reconciled to that situation.
All right, interesting perspective there. Let's come back to the studio here. Did they have to take a criticism, a very sharp criticism by Nasir El-Rufai before this NEC meeting could be called? Because people are linking it with the statement that El-Rufai made in Abuja during a meeting, or I mean, where some opposition leaders were, that the same APC that he left is no longer the same APC that is in power because so many things are not running. And he said it looks like a near one-man show. Was it because of that criticism that we have to have this?
I think I am privy to the fact that the decision of the National Working Committee to call the meeting of the caucus and the NEC predated the statement made by Nasir El-Rufai at the Conference on Strengthening Democracy. And I don't know why people are even making it look like an opposition convergence. I think it was, if you look at the program very well, I had a cause to sit with some people who are within government, and I opened the programs for them. For every session, somebody from the government was invited. So it was supposed to be a convergence of all democratic forces to sit together.
Those in government were not there.
They did not go. So that should not make the conference itself an opposition conference. It was actually a conference to look at what are the issues that are making democracy, I mean, that can strengthen our democracy. The conference itself did not even say our democracy is not going well at the moment, but how can we strengthen it? And I do not agree. You see, where we derailed in this current dispensation is where we now said a leader elected under the platform of a party becomes the leader of the party. It started with the PDP, and I find that very odd. If you were alive in the Second Republic, the leader of the party was the chairman of the party.
Yes.
The president was never the leader of the party.
Well, but if the chairman refused to exercise their functions they leave that to,
in the constitution,
to those in government.
They changed the constitutions of the parties and made the elected people, the president, the governors. So it is very easy for people to assume that even when the leadership of the party is faltering, they will assume that it is because the overall leader, whether it is a president or governor, had not intervened. And I think that is even also being very unfair to the elected persons. The leaderships of the parties must act as the leadership of the party. The NWC sat and took a decision. They said they were going to hold, remember, the NEC and the caucus was even to hold earlier, but it was postponed. It has nothing to do with whatever anybody had said. But whatever anybody may have said, may have
contributed to it.
Contributed to pushing it further so that we can have... and a lot of people thought, look, let us not lose the sight of the fact that a lot of people felt that a NEC, a caucus or a NEC of the party will be rancorous. But you see, it wasn't.
Well, it's a different thing, a different ballgame when the president is there. Now, let's talk about the same question I asked Abiodun Sowunmi earlier on. Do you think that the absence of some of these key leaders, founding members of the APC, I mean, it looks like a vote of no confidence on Tinubu's leadership of the APC since he's the leader of the party?
Number one, we have to first and foremost, be fair to whoever was not there. Was he actually invited? Let's not shift the blame entirely.
I mean, if you're a member of NEC, do you need an invitation despite being a member?
Yeah, you do. You do. You know.
I thought, it's inherent. It's an inherent right for you.
Nobody tells you that there will be a meeting of NEC just like that and you begin to attend. It doesn't make sense, you know. You need to be invited formally, be informed, either by phone, by whatever means that you are supposed to come, because it comes with other conditions. You know, for example, you are coming to NEC, this is what the NEC entails, this is where to collect documentations and the rest. If you are supposed to be accommodated by NEC, these are the places.
So could they be on record that these people were invited, but they refused to come?
Exactly.
And they may not have sent apologies.
If it is on record that these people were invited and they did not attend, then actually they have decided on their own volition not to attend.
All right.
But there are people, like I said, I can speak, for example, for somebody like Kayode Fayemi. Fayemi is out of the country. He wouldn't have attended.
Well, the last time we hosted El-Rufai here, he actually said that he wasn't given an invitation to the NEC meeting.
And if he wasn't given an invitation, I think it's an oversight on the part of the people who are managing the system.
All right.
And that those to be invited should be invited formally.
All right.
It's actually, it's a formal gathering.
Okay.
It's not an informal thing that you just hear on air and come. It's a formal gathering.
I want to pick on Sowunmi's view of that. Doesn't it mean by default that if you're a former president of the party or a former vice president, that you should automatically, be given an opportunity to attend these meetings, even if you're not invited? This is your party and the future of the party is being discussed. Shouldn't you have a seat at that table?
Speaking, I tend to see it from that viewpoint that a former president from a party should be so sufficiently interested in the affairs of the NEC and therefore will be expected to be there. But, you know, bearing sickness or bearing appointments and some other commitments that you cannot get out of, ordinarily, you should be interested in attending with or without invitation. I know that they probably may have their own process of inviting people to attend meetings one way or the other, maybe also sending the agenda up front and all that, papers of past meetings and all that to them. But if one or two of them were omitted, well, that's, I think, the internal problem. Bureaucratic problem. I don't think it will be a deliberate thing that a former president will not be invited, a former vice president will not be invited, past governors will not be invited. I don't really see any party behaving, in that way, particularly if you do not have a major factionalization issue in that party. As far as we know APC today, it is not badly divided or factionalized in any form. So I would have expected those past leaders to be in attendance.
And let's talk about the future of the APC. There was also a sort of a vote of confidence on the leadership of Abdullahi Ganduje. Don't forget there were moves here and there for him to be removed because he's from the northwest and not north central, and that Tinubu had supported Al-Makura, but eventually Al-Makura didn't get it. We had, different people, Abdullah Adamu leaving, and then of course we are having Abdullahi Ganduje. What does this say ahead of 2027? Ganduje retaining his seat.
No, the reason is very clear. Look, at a point in time, many people thought Al-Makura would be the next APC chairman, but Ganduje, one way or the other, emerged as a chairman. But since then, of course, he faced very strident criticisms from different quarters within the APC itself. Particularly, there was the agitation from the North Central demanding that the seat should be given to them or they should be compensated one way or the other. But events, or what would I call it, fate, turn out to favor Ganduje. With the election in Edo with the victory of APC in those elections, he was able to show something for it. And follow with Ondo election, Ganduje made so much noise about that and said, look, I am delivering. You can see the result. The first 2 elections under my leadership, we won both. And I'm looking forward to the next 2 elections, referring to Osun and Anambra State. So for Ganduje, he has something to hold on to and say, look, my goal is to lead the party, move it forward and make sure that they could win more states than what they have currently. So that weakened the position of the critics. It strengthens Ganduje's hand, and now he is in, as the chairman till the next election, or till the next convention. And obviously, he will be the chairman, that would lead the party into the 2027 national elections. So I think it's those successes in Edo and Ondo that actually silence his critics.
All right, and I want to hear your view here, Sajoh. Isn't President Tinubu placing a huge bet on Ganduje? I mean, despite the challenges we have in Kano, his home state, the NNPP being, isn't it so much of a risk for Tinubu placing his bet on Ganduje?
I think there's no risk. I think, like my brother there said, Ganduje, emerged at the NEC meeting of the 3rd August 2023. And from that time till now, he has not only consolidated as the undisputed leader of the party in the country, but he has also been able to, post a number of progress and achievements that he has made. I think it's only fair that, the worst is over, so you should confirm him. And I think Ganduje holds a very, very critical role, in trying to navigate the party to success in the next election. He would be able to deliver. He has shown capacity to deliver. He has a base. It doesn't matter whether his
the governorship in the state, I mean, it's in the hands of the opposition.
It's not in hand or not, but he still has a base. He has a very strong base. The Kano base is a strong base, and the Northwest generally is also a very strong base of the party. And the North Central being given a position like the National Legal Advisor, who has been commended, directly also as a person during the NEC, indicates that, look, things are falling in place. So I think it's okay. What remains for the Ganduje leadership is to consider that there are off-season elections coming up in Anambra, Osun, and Ekiti.
Yeah,
and then, then to organize a befitting convention. I like the fact that the APC had already given Mr. President the offer of first refusal. This is the convention everywhere in the world. When you have a president of your own party, you give him the offer of first refusal. It's only when he says, look, I'm no more interested in...
and they hardly do. I mean,
and they hardly do. Well, let's assume that we may get there. We are maturing. We are consolidating. We are getting... But, given the president the offer of first refusal is the most reasonable thing to do under the circumstances. And they've already done that. So he would just organize a convention to affirm the president as the candidate of the party in the next election. And we're looking forward to that. All
right. As we try to round off this discussion, Biodun Sowunmi, a lot of people are saying that President Tinubu's master strategist credentials are being questioned, especially with what's going on in Lagos politics. When the dog no longer listens to the whistle of the hunter, then of course everyone keeps wondering if the hunter is still in control. With what's going on in Lagos State House of Assembly and the Governor's Advisory Council, GAC, and of course state lawmakers, do you think that President Tinubu is still fully in control of Lagos politics? And wouldn't this be a distraction to him ahead of 2027? Because it looks like people are becoming independent-minded in Lagos. Yeah,
Lagos, we should not forget the importance of Lagos. If you are thinking about 2027, 3 states are very crucial. You are looking at Lagos, Kano, Rivers in terms of the votes. And for anyone in Mr. President position to ignore development or control of issues in Lagos will be totally unreasonable. So what I see happening in Lagos is that, I mean, you have the GAC, one way or the other, they made themselves a party to the crisis in the State House of Assembly. So they are no longer in a position to resolve the issues, forcing Mr. President to now call on other leaders, Chibisi Akonde, Ambode, Aremo Olusegun Osoba, past governors, to wade into the issue. Because there are 2 parties. You have the GAC, with the House of Members on one part, and you have Obasa and some few House of Members on the other part. So the GAC is not in a position to resolve the crisis. That is what is compelling Mr. President. And when you look at the nature of it's not about removal of Obasa, it's about the political arrangement within Lagos State, where the governor is from Central, the deputy governor is from the East, and the speaker must come from the West. The West has the majority of the votes. So therefore, nobody would ignore that. They would have to ensure that there is a fair representation for the West. It doesn't have to be Obasa, it could be someone else. And I think it's what they are trying to work out within the party.
All right, very interesting submission here. And I'll have your take very quickly before we leave.
I think
Tinubu's master strategist credentials aren't they being questioned with?
It's not.
People say he's unable to resolve this Lagos crisis.
He has not been unable to resolve the Lagos crisis. I think it's very clear that in party politics, you have to balance all the interests that are there. I think what makes it bad, like he said, is that the Governor's Advisory Council should have continued to remain a neutral father figure kind of a thing. And I think it will be resolved. It will be resolved.
All right, interesting perspective there. We must thank you so much. Sajoh is a former commissioner for information in Adamawa State. And of course, a member of the Governing All Progressives Congress. Thank you so much for your immense wealth of knowledge. And of course,
pleasure always.
We must thank you so much, Biodun Sowunmi, for helping us provide our perspective, especially on Lagos politics. Of course, Lagos West is a very tough senatorial district that no one can play around with. And it looks like Tinubu is being cautious on this matter. But, well, it's all left to be seen if he can quickly nip in the bud the crisis in that state. But we must thank you so much for your immense wealth of knowledge.